The one thing I can always control is my mind, the present moment, and how I move through my day moment to moment. Marcus Aurelius arrived at the same truth 2,000 years ago. Welcome to Ascend and Awaken, timeless wisdom for awakening and inner peace. Marcus Aurelius was born in Rome in 121 AD. By the age of 40, he had become emperor, ruler of the most powerful empire on earth, governing roughly 70 million people across 3 continents. He commanded armies, he navigated plagues, invasions, and political betrayals. He buried children. He governed through wars that never seemed to end. And every night, after all of that, he sat down and wrote in a private journal. Not for publication, not for posterity, not to impress anyone. Just reminders. Private notes to himself. A man talking to himself about what mattered and what didn't. About how to return to his center when the day had pulled him away from it. That journal survived nearly 2,000 years and became one of the most widely read books in human history. We call it Meditations. And here is what makes it unlike almost any other spiritual text ever written. Marcus Aurelius was not a saint or a monk or a mystic living in a cell. He was the most powerful man in the world, and he still needed to remind himself every morning of the very things he already knew. That is not a weakness. That is the most honest thing about him. He kept forgetting, he kept returning, he kept beginning again. That is the practice. At the heart of everything Marcus wrote is one fundamental insight, and it is the same insight every mystic on this channel has arrived at from a different direction. The external world does not determine your inner state. You do. He says, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but due to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. The pain is not due to the thing itself. It is due to your estimate of it. Not what happens to you, what you do with what happens to you in that interior space between stimulus and response. That space is yours. No emperor, no circumstance, no crisis can enter it without your permission. Marcus was writing those words during military campaigns, during plague, during personal grief. He was not writing from comfort or safety. He was writing from the middle of genuine difficulty, reminding himself of the one thing that could not be taken from him: his response, his interior ground, his choice. Marcus understood something about the mind that modern psychology has only recently confirmed in its own language. He says, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, not the quality of your circumstances, not whether the day goes well or badly, not whether people treat you as you deserve to be treated. The quality of what you are thinking right now in this moment is determining the quality of your experience of being alive. That's not positive thinking. That is not pretending difficult things aren't difficult. It is the recognition that the mind is not a passive receiver of experience. It is an active participant in creating it. And the mind, unlike the weather or the news or other people's behavior, is something you can actually work with. He says, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Very little is needed. Not more achievement, not different circumstances, not the resolution of every problem. Just this, the quality of attention you bring to this moment right now. Of all the things Marcus wrote, this is the one that connects most directly to the mystics of every tradition. He says, people try to get away from it all, to the country, to the beach, to the mountains. You always wish that you could too, which is idiotic. You can get away from it anytime you like, by going within. Nowhere you go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. 2,000 years ago, before the 24-hour news cycle, before the phone that never stops demanding your attention, Marcus Aurelius was describing what so many of us feel right now. And his answer was not, go somewhere else, find a better solution, find a better situation, wait for things to calm down. His answer was, Go within, right now, in the middle of all of it. The sanctuary is already there. It has always been there. This is Teresa of Avila's interior castle. This is Brother Lawrence's kitchen. This is the Desert Father's cell. This is DeMillo's awareness. A Roman Stoic emperor and a parade of mystics across 2,000 years, all porting at the same interior ground, all saying, the refuge you are looking for is not out there. It was never out there. It is in here, always, available, now. Marcus had one more thing to say, and it is the most direct and practical thing in all of meditations. He says, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Not study more, not understand more, not wait until you feel ready. Be one. Now, today, in this ordinary day, with its ordinary demands and its ordinary opportunities to choose kindness over irritation, presence over distraction, love over fear. He says, when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. That is where he ends, not with philosophy, with the morning, with the privilege of simply being here for another day. That is where every teaching eventually arrives, right here, right now, this day, this breath, this moment that will not come again. Before today's invitation, I want to share something about Marcus's morning practice because it connects directly to mine in a way that surprised me. Marcus began his mornings by reminding himself that the people he would encounter that day would be difficult, meddling, ungrateful, arrogant. He wrote that to himself not as cynicism, but as preparation, choosing compassion in advance, deciding before the day began that other people's difficulty would not disturb his inner ground. I approach my mornings a bit differently. As I shared in a different video, each day I begin with a short meditation, some quiet time, and genuine gratitude for another wonderful day to be of service. And I carry with me something I've always believed. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Differing starting points, same destination. Marcus chose compassion by preparing for difficulty. I choose it by beginning in gratitude. Both of us, an ancient Roman emperor and a fellow traveler 2,000 years later, arriving at the same morning truth. The day goes better when you decide before it begins how you are going to meet it. Thank you for spending this time with me here on Ascend and Awaken. Today's invitation is this. Tomorrow morning, before the phone, before the news, before the day's demands arrive, take 60 seconds. Just 60. And ask yourself one question Marcus Aurelius asked himself for nearly 2 decades as an emperor of Rome. What is within my control today? Not the traffic, not other people's moods, not what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. Your mind, your response, your presence, your kindness, that is enough. That has always been enough. Share in the comments. How do you begin your morning? Is there a practice or intention that sets the tone for your day? I would genuinely love to hear. If Ascend and Awaken supports your journey, consider subscribing for more reflections on timeless wisdom, spiritual awakening, and inner peace. Until next time, peace, love, and light to you on your spiritual journey.